To say all praise to the Most High Yahweh by Hashem, Yahweh Shai. Double honest to the elders and apostles of GMS who rule well, and shalom to the hope of the left. Now, I just wanted to show this thing quickly with this COVID vaccination, because apparently, and this is from July 2020, it's from a few months back, but as this keeps going on and as it escalates, you can see the restrictions getting tighter and tighter. Now they're talking about enforcement officers, are roaming public transport to enforce the wearing of masks, by either telling you to put on a mask, exit whatever transportation you're on, or giving you a fine. I just play
certificate. But the COVID-19 free certificate has become one of the most important documents, especially if you have to travel or work in certain institutions. It's even worse for those in transport industry, where for any truck driver to begin a journey, one has to obtain a certificate from the Ministry of Health confirming their COVID-19 free status. But as Dorcas Wangira now reports, a negative result does not exclude the possibility of exposure to infection or even at least to drop your guard.
The COVID-19 free certificate is soon becoming the most essential document one can have. Under the current East Africa Community Protocol, each and every truck driver is required to obtain a certificate from the point of origin, confirming that they are COVID-19 free before being allowed to travel outside the country. Similar COVID-19 free certificates will be required from all passengers aboard international flights once they resume on August 1st. Even for Kenyans, anybody coming back home must have a COVID-19 free certificate from the country where they're originating from. Following full-blown community spread, employees in the hospitality industry are required to take a test every 2 weeks.
Upande Uganda upime, uregee tena upande ya Kenya, ndio urudi uende zako. Na uweze vuka huko kama una
translation. This is some bullshit.
Wengine wamefanya test kama leo jana. Baada ya siku mbili ndio result zitatoka. Na hiyo result baada ya siku mbili
his boss can't even cover his nose and mouth.
Once one tests negative for COVID-19, either at a government or private facility, a negative result is relayed and one is presented with a certificate. Just like a yellow fever and even polio, certificates are issued to show that someone has been vaccinated. However, unlike those holding the vaccination certificates, COVID-19 does not have a vaccine. The COVID-19 free certificate is not about being vaccinated. It only means that you were negative at the time of testing. Likewise, a negative result does not exclude the possibility of exposure or to infection with the SARS-CoV-2 virus.
AKA,
one can get infected immediately after testing before they even get their certificate. The COVID-19 certificate is only valid for 14 days. Even at the period of its validity, one can still get exposed and infected.
Generally, if it's a negative test, it means you're free to go. The reason that this validity is 14-day period is from the epidemiology of the virus, how it multiplies within the body. Then you will begin to develop symptoms between 5 to 7 days. Generally, most cases, by 14 days, the virus is not there.
The other big question is, how often should someone test even after receiving the initial results?
You get to the border, this is 48, 72 hours later, they still have to retest. To retest you again, you have to wait for your results.
According to the Ministry of Health guidelines, testing is only necessary where there has been exposure or one has been traced as a contact, but one needing another certificate will be required to renew by undergoing another coronavirus test.
You are right that somebody could contract it, remain asymptomatic, and be spreading it until the 14-day period. That's the danger that we are careful of, because somebody else who contracts it but becomes symptomatic will go seek for help, medical help, and he will be tested and he will be isolated and treated. But the asymptomatic person doesn't even know he has it.
9th July announced from the Kenya.
Kind of like being stupid. When you're stupid, you don't know you're stupid, but everybody around you suffers.
National Hospital was charged with forging and selling fake COVID-19 certificates. There have been reports that there are more being sold within the country. With the nature of the virus and how it spreads, it is not possible to tell where it lacks or how many are infected. But be that as it may, having a COVID-19 certificate after testing negative remains no guarantee of immunity. Dorcas Wangira, Citizen TV.
Bro, they just in a roundabout, in some convoluted way, just turned around and said, right, all this testing is pointless. Ah, jeez. Now, this is what they're doing in the UK, man. They're saying drivers cannot enforce the law around face coverings, but they will issue a special ticket to passengers who are not exempt, advising it is the customer's responsibility to comply with the law. So they can just print out some ticket and give it to you and be like, well, I don't know, 'cause, I took the bus and the what's it called? The bus driver cabin is it's sealed to protect the bus driver from the invisible enemy. Freaking stupid. So TFL, I think that means Transport for London, argued staff had not been stopped from telling customers to wear face masks, and then they would not be reprimanded for doing so. The Unite Union, which represents more than 80,000 bus workers, has warned of a second spike in corona infections if face coverings were not enforced. How the hell is enforcing a face covering going to help when, I looked into the science of it, it's meant to be like 0.1 millimeter is the COVID, and these, say for example, I'm paraphrasing here, and the masks, the pores of the diameter of the mask are like 0.2. So obviously and I'm gonna do a video on that, and so obviously the corona can still travel through the mask, so your mask aren't really doing anything. The only thing that can really stop corona, quote unquote coronavirus and other airborne viruses, is like a N95 mask, and most people are not wearing N95 masks. They're reserved for quote unquote health specialists and people in at-risk occupations, whatever the hell that means, man. We can see right here, I was going into a scripture quickly, where it be Bible verses on hypocrisy. Let's go to Titus 1:16. They profess that they know Yahweh, but in works they deny him, being abominable and disobedient, and unto every good work reprobate. So these people, they claim they're God-fearing, and we're talking about the Queen specifically because this is, the UK. They claim to be God-fearing, in God we trust. When she comes on every Christmas and she gives a little speech, and she acts like she's holier than thou. But she'll be in the Gay Pride Festival, and basically exalting and allowing all kinds of abominations to be in our country. She's a damn hypocrite, man. If you look at this, it says on the royal family website, it explains when traveling overseas, the Queen does not require a British passport, but a passport isn't the only official document the Queen is never required to have. The 91-year-old has never had a driver license because they too are issued in her name. So basically, all power derived from her. How do you get permission from yourself? So she's exempt from all the laws that she makes, which basically makes her a hypocrite. If you look at here, it's looking into how far SD travels. My videos are limited to 15 minutes. I tried to extend it, but apparently my mobile phone number doesn't work. Okay, YouTube. It says, but Baruba's research suggests that dichotomy may be arbitrary. Let's look into the word dichotomy, because sometimes I forget what that means. Dichotomy. A division or contrast between two things that are or are represented as being opposed or entirely different. So the dichotomy of a sneeze, which basically means a contradiction. These are these big words. Maybe arbitrary. Arbitrary, just what is arbitrary? Let's just look up the word arbitrary as well. Man, I'm really bad with it. What does arbitrary mean? Arbitrary. What? Arbitrary, based on random choice or personal whim, rather than any reason or system. So this is, this isn't based on reason. This is just on people's whims. A study indicates that a sneeze can expel droplets of various sizes 23 to 27 feet from a nose. And we all know about this 6 feet, as if you're within the 6 feet, you're instantly at the mercy of corona. And it's telling you right here that when people sneeze, it can travel up to 23 to 27 feet. Now, anyone who's not really good at maths knows that 23 to 27 feet is larger than 6 feet. So this is just bullcrap, man. The whole thing is a contradiction, man. The more you look at it, the more you realize these people they're smoking gas. How fast and far can a sneeze carry contagious germs? I'm not gonna go through this, but apparently, when you sneeze, the germs tend to hover in the place where you sneezed. So yeah, like there's no really getting around that. But apparently human beings have lived for thousands of years without masks, but now we need them, which is really weird for me. This is Ecclesiasticus. What chapter is this? Ecclesiasticus chapter 42, 24. All things are double one against another, and ye have made nothing imperfect. So nothing's imperfect. Even the queen is not imperfect. She's perfectly evil. One thing established the good or another, and who shall be filled with beholding his glory? So, her evilness establishes the good of the righteous, just like the righteous, establish the wicked of the unrighteous. If we go to 1 John 2:4, he that saith, I know him, and keepeth not his commandments, is a liar, and the truth is not in him. So these people, they talk about being I'm a God-fearing country, oh, praise the God, and they put their hand on the Bible and do whatever, but they don't really believe in the Most High. They don't believe in Yahweh. They believe in their left-handed demons, man. These people are a bunch of demons. You can see in their damn eyes, man. This is Isaiah chapter 10, verse 1. Woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees, and that write grievousness which they have prescribed, to turn aside the needy from judgment, and to take away the right from the poor of my people, that widows may be their prey, and that they may rob the fatherless. Now, if you see something like this, is just just being arbitrary here, but if you look into even the tax system, the standard inheritance tax rate is 40%. Is only charged on a part of your estate that's above the threshold. Example, your estate is worth 500,000. Your tax-free threshold is 325,000. So anything up to 325,000 is tax-free. The inheritance charge will be the 40% of the 175,000. So basically 175,000 out of your 500,000 estate, they're gonna charge 40%, which is what, 17 and a half, 10, 17 and a half, 35. So they're gonna charge your estate 70 grand, 70k. You die, you leave something to your child, you leave them £500,000, and it takes 70k out of that. That's an unrighteous decree, because you best believe when she leaves everything to her family, ain't no one charging her none. Even though it says here she doesn't have a passport, as a British passport is issued in the name of Her Majesty. It is unnecessary for the Queen to possess one. You can't give yourself permission, bro. When you give permission for everybody, it's like asking yourself permission to drive your car. You're just gonna go outside and drive it, but you need permission from the Queen to drive your own car. Funny how that works. Read the royal family's website, adding that all the other members of the royal family, including the Duke of Edinburgh and the Prince of Wales, complete cucks, do have passports. So basically, she's sovereign all by herself, man. All power in this quote-unquote land derives from her, and this isn't even her land. If you look into the history of the Queen, you can see that these people originated from, the Germans and whatnot. They're not indigenous to the UK. They're a bunch of they come from the Germanic tribes, and even they're not real. These so-called Germans, they're not indigenous to that land. So these people are just a bunch of thieves. Everywhere they go, they're thieves. They settle down and they call themselves after the people of the land, and pretend that they were there before the actual people were there, and they call themselves after the names of the people. There's a scripture for that. I can't find it right now. I've got 15 minutes. I'm gonna leave off there. All praises to the Most High Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. Shalom to the hopefully elect. Double honors to the elders and apostles of GMS who rule well.